All right, good afternoon. This is Coach Big Pete of DeepDishFootball.com and the Win Report. It is time now for Deep Dish Football Games of the Week 2, 2019. Make sure you follow Coach Big Pete and Deep Dish Football on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. Quick reminder, Deep Dish Football Live is not happening on Thursday night, just for tonight, due to basically, the Chicago Bears kick off their season against the Green Bay Packers in a vaunted rivalry game. It should be exciting. 100th year of Chicago Bears football. I'm excited. I'm a Chicago Bears fan. I'm looking forward towards a great game. It's always a great game. But let's get to IHSA football games of the week for week two. Week 2, 2019. And if you have any questions, my email is coachbigpetefp@gmail.com. All right, first game, Deep Dish Football Game of the Week, O'Fallon versus Bradley Bourbonnais. Really excited about this game. I think it's going to be interesting, especially how O'Fallon handles the travel up to Bradley Bourbonnais. For me, I really like that Bradley Bourbonnais secondary, and I like O'Fallon's passing attack, especially with Ty Michael at quarterback. Definitely a player to keep an eye out for this on Friday night. Next, Bryan versus Stillman Valley is a huge game up north. Bryan looks good. Uh, Great defense, great offensive line. It's Bryan football, all 100%. Stillman Valley, they're good too. They're heavily ranked up in the polls. Definitely interesting game. I really do like Bryan in this game. I really like Bryan this whole season. I think it's going to be a great matchup for Bryan. I think they're going to be in the Kelb for Thanksgiving. Normal versus Normal West, big proving game for Carson Camp and a Normal West squad facing that Normal defense and offensive line as well. Normal West, one of the big factors that I see in this game is Cole Hernandez. That's going to be huge. And coming into the second, third quarter, basically, it should be an interesting game. Fairfield versus Johnston City. I have Johnston City as my surprise team in the Black Diamond. I think it's going to be an interesting game between Fairfield and Johnston City. Again, and Fairfield, like I said, I hope that we finally get a Black Diamond team to play in IHSA playoffs. Not playoffs, but up in DeKalb for the state final game. Bishop Mac versus Coal City. That's a huge game with Bishop Mac versus Coal City. This is another second proving game for Coal City, and I consider the last of the tough games that Coal City has to play, and that's against Bishop Mac. So I think Coal City is gonna pull the win off this one, but I think Bishop Mac is good enough with Tyler Hiller at quarterback. It's gonna be a great game. Definitely check it out. Next, Sacred Heart Griffin versus Glenwood Chatham. Glenwood Chatham is an absolute beast. They look great. That team is unbelievable with how many players that they got. Sacred Heart Griffin, very impressive against University Normal. I think Sacred Heart Griffin is definitely another team just to keep a very small, close eye on. But Sacred Heart Griffin, their secondary was good. They were picking off passes like it was nobody's business against University Normal. So Sacred Heart Griffin versus Glenwood Chatham was a great game to watch. Huntley versus Jacobs. This is another proving game for Jacobs. Cole Barwadi at quarterback for Jacobs. I really like Huntley. Huntley's a beast team. And I think Cary Grove proved their point too. In the Fox Valley, it's a little difficult, but I really think this is going to be a good game. Keep an eye out for Jacobs and Huntley. Huntley's defensive line, great, really good. Next, Eureka versus Gibson City. Big small school game as the Eureka Hornets take on Gibson City. A big proving game for Eureka. You got McDonald. You got that great defensive pass rush. Good offensive line, too, for Eureka. Callahill, if I'm not mistaken, an offensive line going against Gibson City and their athletic trio in the backfield. And also a good group of solid linebackers in Gibson City. Excited about the game. That's another game that I have as the top 5 game for this week. IVC versus Monticello. This is another proving grounds game for IVC as they take on Monticello Sages. The IVC Ghost. If they can get the W in this game, watch out. They definitely deserve to be ranked. No doubt about it. Next, Crete-Monee versus Kankakee. Huge game, I consider. Crete-Monee is good, but I think this is another proving game for Kankakee. It'll be interesting to see how Cremoni goes against the quarterback of Elgin, who I think is a hell of a quarterback. I'm forgetting his last name, Lumpkins. We'll see what happens. But Glenwood itself, um, Plazo, he is unbelievable. He's going to be something this year. He's special. Next in the game, Mount Carmel versus Maine South. Maine South loses to Glenbard West last week. Mount Carmel looks good. They look like old Mount Carmel. Yeah, it's going to be a good game. Maine South, again, like I said, Ryan Kilberg, but Mount Carmel, Lance Swan, um, the running back, last name, he's special. Jordan Lynch's little brother, he's another one. Jake Lynch, if I'm not mistaken. But that's a good game. Next, St. Rita versus Richards. St. Rita gets the big win over Juliet Catholic. Richards gets another huge win. Keep an eye out for Javon Robinson of Richards. He's a quarterback / wide receiver. Do not sleep on that kid. Keep an eye out for Javon Robinson. He is a hell of a player. St. Rita, Brown, and that athletic trio that they have in the backfield and those wide receivers that they got, especially their ability at linebacker and at cornerback. It's going to be a good game as St. Rita versus Richards. Next, Lincoln Way East after Naperville Central. Naperville Central, they lost the game to Hinsdale Central. That was a complete shocker. Lincoln Way East wins last week. Lincoln Way East looks great. This is a big proving game for Naperville Central. Next, Moline versus Bennett Academy. I think this is a huge game for Moline. They got ranked going against Bennett Academy. A huge game for Colin Gillespie and those wide receivers. Also, keep an eye out for that pass rush of Bennett against that Moline offensive line. That's going to be a huge matchup. Next, Manuka versus Plainfield South. Plainfield South beat Aurora West, if I'm not mistaken. Manuka, they got the big first win. Manuka looks good this year. This is another proving ground games for both teams as they face each other. The Manuka Indians, again, keep an eye out for the rushing attack, as always, from Manuka, but also great group of athletes in that backfield for that defense, linebackers and defensive backs for Manuka against that Plainfield South, basically that passing attack of Plainfield South. Neuqua Valley versus Stevenson, another big game. Stevenson needs the W. Neuqua Valley, Mark Gronkowski and that offense, they won the first week. This is a big game for Stevenson and Neuqua Valley. Next game. This is the second game for Fremd. They had the big first win over the Lake Zurich. Big proving ground game as they take on Hersey. Fremd with the Sachs brothers, they look good. Hersey, this is another second test for them. Really looking forward towards Jaden Rashid. He's another player that I really like out of their secondary. And the last one, Sycamore versus the Kelb. I really am interested in what Sycamore can do. But like I said, to me, the two schools in that conference that really prove something to me, and I'll talk about that later. The Kelb, great, solid. Kyler at quarterback, unbelievable. Saban's a wide receiver, good secondary as well. And Donovan, again, good team in the Kelb as they beat Lake Park last week. Sycamore, to me, in that conference, Sycamore Keelan, those are two big teams to watch. Two tremendous teams. And Sycamore, oh man, that team. That team's something special. That team is something special. So it's going to be interesting to see Sycamore versus the Calvin. This is one of the top rivalry games too in the state of Illinois. So it should be interesting. Okay, make sure you follow Coach Big Pete and Deep Dish Football on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. Quick reminder: no, I'm not taking donations or tips. If you like my work, you feel free to leave tips and donations via St. Jude's Children's Hospital, as September is Childhood Cancer Awareness Month. Just to make sure everyone knows. Be sure you check it out and everything. It goes to a great cause and a great fight by the St. Jude Children's Hospital. I'll put the link in the bottom of the video. Thank you so much and have a lovely day.